You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo!
My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
Commercial!
Get to pound mission.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are a live show, so you can listen to us live. Well, it said live twice, but we are on 105.5 FM, 660 AM, or you can download the Florida Man Radio app and take us anywhere you want to go. Another way is to go to floridamanradio.com and hit listen live. And again, we will be right there. So nobody has an excuse not to listen. It's just the way it is. I'm your host, Angela Smarito, and in studio we have DJ Heather, the producer, who is back.
I'm back forever.
Back in the house. Little Sean and Lurch did a great job.
I'm sure they
but
did
you know
great.
what? This is just like my core right here.
I missed you.
We missed you too. And next to me is my partner in crime, Miss Emily.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm great.
That's Emily Murphy. So I always wanted to call her Miss M, but she was like, "That sounds too old."
Don't age me.
I won't. Behind the camera and making us look good, we have one and only Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand.
Hello.
Last week's video, girl, was perfection.
Oh, thank you.
I loved everything about it. And you can check out all the BaaD Radio videos at Striking Brand's YouTube channel. You can also see Melissa's portfolio of amazing work at strikingbrand.com, and your website looks fantastic, too.
Thank you so much.
Super huge thank you to Dr. James Bowles for sponsoring the video.
In the house
And
today.
he's in the
What's up,
house.
guys?
I'm very happy to have you here, so you can kind of
Thanks for having me.
Well, we can see where your money goes.
There we go. All right, keep you guys in check, yeah.
And guess what? We finally have Froggers in the house too.
Ooh.
I've been trying to get Froggers here since we started. We have Mike Ellison. How are you doing, Mike?
Good. How you doing today?
Doing good. Thank you so much
Got
for
a radio voice too.
I know.
Jeez.
I've been trying to get George, the owner, in, but he's like, hell no, Ange, never gonna happen. So I know you're listening, George. So hi. You can call or text us at any time. The number here is 321-339-1055. Again, that is 321-339-1055. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. They specialize in home and commercial building inspections, environmental inspections, roof certifications, and pool inspections. You can also save a lot of money with a wind mitigation inspection, so call them at 407-739-5795, or you can visit them at libertypropertyinspections.net. And then also a huge thank you to Ground Up Property Services. We are at that time of the year where you can get 1 to 4 inches of rain in a couple hours, and then the next day your sprinklers come on, and it's a waste of water, it's a waste of electricity. So if you don't have a sensor, get a sensor. Call my guy Rick Hall at 407-468-4295, or you can go to groundupinc.net. And I actually got some feedback from one of the referrals that he got from BaaD Radio, and they just said that he was amazing. And he was amazing with the work that he did. And I like I said, I really like hearing that as well. I love for people to get leads from the show, but I even like it better when I get comments back
Reviews,
about how
yeah.
awesome they are. Also like to thank Four Seasons AC, Do-It-Yourself Pest Control in Fern Park, and Angela's Keen's Hair and Makeup. All right, Miss Emily. I just called you Miss Emily again. I'm so sorry. Emily, how was your week?
It was good. Busy week. People are getting back in a routine. This is like, I call it the second New Year's, because when school starts to get back in session, people start they, get back in the gym. They start thinking about routines and habits again. And a lot of times they're thinking, what have I been doing the last few months to my body and myself? So it's been busy.
And I've actually had quite a few people come to me and ask me about your program. And what I really talk about is that this is not a diet.
Right.
I just say that. I'm like, it's not a diet. This is you're changing the way people think about food, and you get to eat. I told her about the time you're like, remember when you're like, it's a diet at like 10 o'clock, you get like 10 almonds. And you're just like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, we need food to live and thrive and think, you know.
Oh, absolutely. So, I've had several people just this past week bring that up because it's not just about it. A lot of it has to do with your hormones, and that's really what makes your program different, right?
Right. We look at hormonal balance and trying to, make you healthy first, right? And then go into weight loss protocols because we can't just start subtracting calories if, you're not already eating enough food to begin with.
Well, actually, you had a conversation with Angela Keene, didn't you? Yeah. And because she told me, she's like, I've just always eaten, like, I can't even remember, like a low carb, like low calorie.
Oh, yeah. Women are they're eating such low amounts of food, so small, like little bird-sized meals. And then if you do, like, eat anything, like even at a restaurant, you're usually eating maybe 1,000, 1,200 calories in a meal. And that could be more than some people eat in a whole day. So of course it's going to overload your system and your metabolism is not going to be able to handle it. So eat more, move a little more, do some of the things that, we need as humans. And I just help people figure out a plan for them. So they're not guessing and trying to figure it out and miserable. And they get results, and it's like we just keep changing it. If something doesn't work for them, we just change it. So and find something that does, and that's the point of the program and creating a custom plan. Is that you can't quit if there's not something that it's not like pass or fail. It's just like if this doesn't work, there's 5 more options.
Right, and that's what I told Angela too. Is I was like, it's not a one size fits all. She's going to talk to you. She's going to talk about your health history. She's going to talk to you about hormones. She's going to understand what's going on with you before she says, eat this, do this, because that's what so many diets are, is this, this is your meal plan. Yeah. Deal with it. You know what I mean?
And then when you can't, you have no other plan, or you have no way to transition into like what happens even when I hit my weight goal. That's going to look different than what you're doing when you're trying to hit your weight goal.
I know that I tried one before, and it's like, for lunch, 4 ounces of protein. If you're a guy, it's 6 ounces. I'm like, that's not fair.
I take that guy serving all the time. Yeah, I eat 6 ounces, like no problem.
And then I'm like, what the hell is 6 ounces?
I'll eat 4 to 5 eggs at a time. Yeah, people think that's crazy. They're like, I have 1 boiled egg. I'm like, and then what do you eat? Like on the side of a chicken or what?
I don't know what 4 ounces looks like either. So anyway, well
I say a lot of people refer to the size of their palm. Maybe I say go with the whole hand. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because when you eat, you want to feel like you've eaten.
Right.
No. So
yeah, that's the point of eating. Not to be hungry and thinking about food after you've eaten.
I love sending people your way. I actually get excited when I'm telling them about what you do, because it's so different than what just traditional people do. So super excited about that. So yay, go get them, girl.
Thanks.
All right, so next we are going to talk about the BaaD business tip. Now, I said before, I know that sounds funny, but out of context, BaaD is the name of the show. So it's the BaaD business tip. And I love this portion of the show because it gives us an opportunity to really dig deep into so many things that affect business. Our winner last week was Diane Thomason from Ocala Promotions, and Diana said, to be honest with your clients, they will appreciate it, and you will become trustworthy. And then, she probably got her shirt yesterday.
So you win a shirt if you, get picked.
If you pick, obviously she's just got her business announced last week and this week. She gets the social media stuff that goes on it. Yeah. And then she gets a BaaD radio shirt. And in my opinion, that's like really, really cool. So, so Diane should have received her shirt by now. So if you're listening, I want to see it. Post a picture of it. This week, we had probably the most business tips submitted, which again makes me thrilled. And so I had a hard time going through them, but I did select one. So this week, our BaaD business tip was submitted by Graham Pettis with New York Life. And Graham says, consistency breed results. A lot of us are working to scale our businesses. This is done through consistent effort. Keep pushing and it will pay off. You reap what you sow. In my opinion, there's nothing more important than activity. Activity breeds success. But on that note, you have to make sure that the activity that you're doing is in the right direction. So I can schedule 10 meetings in a day, but is that an effective use of my time? I don't know. Like, what do you think, Dr. James?
It's got to be productive, right? I mean, if you're just booking meetings for the sake of it, just to look like you're busy, it's not really going to get you very far, is it?
Yeah.
Same sort of thing with us in like healthcare. If you're seeing a lot of new patients throughout the day, but you're not following through with their healthcare, or they're not following through, they're not going to get anywhere really either. So you've got to definitely be consistent and productive. That's a good tip from Graham.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, even for you, like I said, if you're going to book, you have to really pay attention to where you're spending your time.
Right.
Because some people are not going to be potential clients. So it doesn't make sense for me, like I said, to book 10 appointments, but I know based off of their business or even what it's for is that is not a good potential client for me if it just doesn't make sense. Now, I do believe in networking. So, you can't always judge a book by a cover. I've been in that situation before where I agreed to a meeting with somebody that I had no idea. I never thought that they were going to be, a good prospect, but I did it anyway. And it turns out they are ready to buy radio, or they're opening a business down the road, or they knew somebody and they gave me a really good referral. So it's like,
and you just have to look at parts of your week, like how much of your time can you afford to just like take some risks with your time, and then which times you have to actually do the money-making activities, right? Or client and customer, patient fulfillment, those things. And you have to really look at and if you can't do something, how do you hire the help to do it?
Yeah. And I also think that it's important to pay attention to how much time you're spending with those conversations, or even, like I said, because time management is probably the one thing I struggle the most with, because I want to give everybody so much of my attention. I really do. And honestly, I don't say this to Mike because some of my biggest clients are my clients that are the best, because you guys really, you have me change the commercials, everything like that. We have a plan set, but you don't, you're not calling me 24/7 going, my commercial did not air at 12:05 and 10 seconds like this said it was.
Right.
So like I said, I think that really is what it boils down to, is that, you've got to stay active, right? So activity breeds success. And so he said results, but I meant make more calls. I mean, what would you consider like a really busy how many meetings would you do a day, Emily, do you think?
I do 2 to 5 check-ins a day, because I spend 30 minutes a week checking in with clients in my one-on-one program. I also do group-style meetings where, and that has helped put together a system where I'm not spread so thin doing so many. So if people have some of the same goals, we're all on a call together, maybe 4 or 5 at a time. They like that. There's community there. They're, supporting each other and learning from me coaching somebody else. So that's just a system that I've put in place to help the time management. And then I have to divide my time between, prospecting leads and networking and sales calls too. So
yeah. And I suspect that's the same for you, Dr. James, because you're in the networking world too.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, obviously, to time manage all the time, because you've got new patients that you've got to see, but you've also got to keep in mind of the existing ones that you've got, that they're not dropping off and they're keeping true to their healthcare and everything.
So systems of fulfillment.
There is. You've got to allocate time for sure for different things and prioritize, and definitely keep reprioritizing as well, because it's never going to be the same every day. So
I think just a long-term theme here is just balance. Got to balance everything out. So the music's on. You know what that means? We're coming to the break. And when we get back, we're going to be hopping with food and fun. So stay tuned.
Florida Man Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, and this is just a reminder that you can call or text in at any time to 321-339-1055. This portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Impact Electric of Orlando, who focuses on residential and commercial electrical work. When talking about quality of work, Impact Electric is one of the best. We use Impact Electric of Orlando for all of our electrical needs, and I would recommend them to anyone. You can reach them at 747-0874. I also want to thank Andrews Law PA, Renee Sterling with South State Bank, and Sheepdog Promotional Products. All right, here we go with Froggers. So welcome in, Mike. How are you doing?
Doing great today. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So just a little background. Mike actually doesn't live in the Orlando area. So he actually adjusted his schedule so he could be here with us today. So thank you so much for doing that.
I'm very glad to.
Yes. All right. So a little bit of history about Froggers. As an organization, how many years has Froggers been open?
35 years. Opened in 1987.
All right. That's just amazing. And one of the main reasons that I really wanted you in today is because Froggers as a whole is one of the biggest privately owned grill and bars.
Correct. By one owner. George Hakemout owns all the stores, started it back in 1987.
Right. So George owns them all. And I know that some people are like, okay, that's not all that big of a deal. But that's a pretty big freaking deal.
Yeah.
Especially when you're competing with, and I'm not going to name any of the competitors' name because
Right.
they don't get name recognition on the show. But you're talking about chain restaurants that have a corporate backing, that have all of that. George doesn't have that. George has Mike, for one thing.
And Rhonda, his wife.
Hi, Rhonda. I love Rhonda, too. So, and again, I want to hear a little bit about some of the bumps in the road, some of the things that he's had to overcome in the past, what do you say, 36 years?
35 years. Yeah, I'd say, I guess the COVID was really probably the toughest for him.
But
how did it get started? Like, give us some background.
George back in 1987, him and his father opened, or his father was part of it a little bit, but his father had a bar, and then George took over and made a Froggers Grill and Bar. And the guy worked day and night.
I know. I remember.
7
Where was
days
that
a week.
first
That was in
location?
Pine Hills.
Okay.
Back in Pine Hills, George opened that store. He would get there at 7 o'clock in the morning and leave at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. George was doing that every single day when Pine Hills opened up. Then as he grew more and more stores, he'd had to get more people to get involved. And he has people that have been with him 20-some years already.
Yeah. So what are all the locations? Name them off for us.
You have the Altamont location on State Route 436. You have the Apopka location on Rock Springs Road. You have the Mount Dora location up on Lake Park Court. And you have the Oviedo and Alafaya Trail.
Right. And the food is?
Freshly made. It's awesome from a guy who's worked in big concepts, which I won't mention names. I worked in big concepts sports bars, and their food is frozen, pre-done in a bag, where George is very picky, and I don't mean it picky, but he wants only fresh food.
And I think that lots of times people don't understand that, is that when you're going there, you're getting fresh, never frozen.
Right. Our burgers are never frozen. It's a fresh Angus patty. They're half-pound patties, so you better be hungry when you go.
Yeah.
It's bigger than the 4 and 6 ounce stuff, so you got 8 ounces.
Bigger than your hand.
That's it. Definitely bigger than your hand. You also have the chicken wings never frozen. There's a lot of concepts because they want to save money. They'll serve you frozen chicken wings. George will never serve a frozen chicken wing.
That's so
During
awesome.
the pandemic where we couldn't get some of them, he would not sell chicken wings because he couldn't get the right product.
Well, I think that's amazing. And their chicken wings are to die for.
So are all the restaurants same menu?
Same menu except for the Mount Dora and the Altamont location. They also offer pizza.
Oh.
Those two locations offer a pizza, and if you're in on a Sunday, you can get a 16-inch pizza for $10.
Nice.
And another thing about Froggers, too, is that there's something for everybody. So you have football. You have a place for the kids to go. So it's family friendly, but then it also, like I said, it's something for people to go and hang out. The menu's amazing. But we did want to talk a little bit about the hiring. I know that the pandemic put a dapper in your hiring process. Tell us what is it that you need right now?
Right now, we're currently looking for servers, bartenders, cooks, dishwashers, managers, because we want to open more stores, and we're currently looking for people to get ready to open more restaurants. But in order to do it, we have to have the right people.
Yes.
Finding good servers are hard.
Yeah.
Good servers and bartenders.
Yeah, that's the servers and bartenders, especially in the locations right now. Bartenders are making over $1,000 a week.
Nice.
And it's just, to find bartenders is very hard, and to find someone with a personality that wants to deal with the guest.
Yeah.
It's a very
Actually,
tough
we
one.
just got a text in from Kelly. Thank you for listening, Kelly. She says, for Froggers, my son wants to be a server, but he doesn't have any waiting experience. So do you train them?
Absolutely. You have to be at least 18 years of age because you are handling alcohol. So if you're under the age of 18, unfortunately, you cannot be a server in the state of Florida.
Okay, but there's other positions, right?
You could be a host or a dish, really just a hostess. And unfortunately, in those, we only have the Altamont location doesn't use that, but all the other locations do use host.
So are your current locations hiring, or are you looking for future?
Every location is hiring right now, especially because coming up in September, we have NFL, and all of our stores have the NFL ticket. You'll be able to watch any team that you like. Even though we're a Steelers bar, we do show every single game that you want to see is on TV. So we do have over 50 TVs in every location, so you can watch any game you want to watch.
Nice. And I know the fantasy football drafts are coming up. Do you guys host parties?
We do draft parties. We do have special packages for them. You know, and I always tell people one thing about Froggers that I love. I've worked for them for a lot of years. Like I was telling Angela, I bought my house through Froggers. I've sold my house through Froggers. Froggers made me be able to raise a child on my own.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was one of the things that Froggers has done for me, and I'm very happy to work for a company like that does all the stuff. The owner really cares about you, which is a great thing.
We actually got another text in from a 502 number. But that doesn't mean anything these days is area code. And it just says, does Froggers work around school schedules?
Yes, absolutely. Especially out in the UCF. Oviedo is right by UCF. We have a lot of college people. So we can work around school schedules. We can help people out to get scheduled around their schedules.
That's very cool. So having that flexibility, what is it like? Do you do part-time and full-time?
We do part-time, full-time. You could come in and just work a few hours during lunch. If you have a night class, if you have a day class, you can come in around 4, 5, 6 o'clock, depending when your classes are over, and work a shift at an evening shift.
Nice. All right. So that totally works. Do you have employees that go from one store to another store, or do they usually stay in
Most
one
of them
location?
stay at one store, but occasionally, like, you know, if people want to work even more and they don't have a store, we always have places they can go in another store. Just the closeness of each location.
Did you wait tables or bartend?
I did.
Yeah.
I used to work at Church Street
Dr.
Station.
James?
I actually did. At the
I
Grand
think
Bohemian.
everybody should have to.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, and
No, it teaches you a lot.
it really does.
It definitely teaches you how to deal with people because I see nowadays everybody's on the cell phones.
Yes.
You get the people that's always sitting on that cell phone, you get them out talking to the guests and they realize they get a personality. The restaurant business helps you out for a lot of ways, whether it's going into a career. I've had people that worked for me over the years. I've been in it since I was like 14 years old. And I'm like 100 now, so.
No, you're not.
So it's one of those things where it's helped you develop people. I have people who work for the governor in Pennsylvania that used to be a server for me. So, I mean, those are things. I have people that doctors, lawyers, whether you're putting yourself through school or whether or not you want to make this a career.
No, for me, it gave me a launch in my sales.
Right, a lot of
it taught
sales
me
training there.
because I'm very competitive, and we would have. I started waiting on tables at Church Street Station while I was in college at UCF, and it taught me, like you said, there's contests, so I always wanted to win. So it taught me what I needed to say in order to sell that extra bottle of wine. Or I took so much pride in making sure that I was like the top salesperson. We actually have one more, another text. So you've heard
This
it.
has got people going today.
Yeah, there you go.
It's Terry. She says, my family frequents the Froggers location in Apopka and Oviedo. Oh, you've answered this one, but it's curious how old someone needs to be to work at Froggers.
18.
Right. It has to be 18. In Apopka, you could be a hostess at 16. In Mount Dora, you could be a hostess at 16. The only issues with once you get under 18, there are limited laws how long you can work. So a lot of the younger age people, you can only work 4 hours and then you must take a break, and there's restrictions on how much you can work.
Absolutely. And when somebody comes in, do you hire them as a hostess first and then server, or do you just...
Not necessarily. A lot of it has to do with personality, your availability, because, sometimes if you have a great personality, we've brought people straight into the bar. You have some knowledge. We're willing to train people,
See, that's a huge thing right there that you're willing to train. I remember back in the day, if you didn't have serving experience.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah,
it's serving. serving's all about personality.
Yeah.
I mean, that's anything else I can teach you. But if you have a personality and love to talk to people and have that fun, it's a great opportunity in that.
So tell everybody how to fill out an application. Do they go in person? I mean, what's the best
Very
way?
easy way is to either apply at any location, ask for a manager on duty, or go to froggers.com or send an email to hr@froggers.com. Very easy. hr@froggers.com will get you an email right away, and we'll set you up for an interview to come on in.
All right. No, that's awesome. I'm just trying to think. We have about 1 minute left.
I love that you can still go in, though, because it's so weird now. I mean, when we were getting jobs, when we were younger, you went in.
Yeah.
You just tried to get in front of managers. And
I think it kind of says something about the person, too. If they have the guts to walk in and talk, you'd say, hey, I'm
but
here.
Now it's all online. And there could be, like, when you have these big corporate places, they're just, going through hundreds of applications, and who knows how they pick or, go through weird personality tests when, face to face, if somebody is decent or not.
One thing great about Froggers that I tell people is a couple years ago, I had a cook who started with us. 6 months later, he became a manager.
Wow.
6 months after that, he became a general manager.
Nice.
And
so
it's
awesome.
whether or not you have that drive to want to do it. If you love the restaurant business, Froggers is the company to come work for because it's just a great owner. He's local. He cares about his people, and he wants to see people. He wants people to succeed. So if you really love the restaurant business, get a hold of us because, we're looking for great people. And I can already tell people that my job, well, eventually you want to work into my job, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people who really want to love the restaurant business.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you for coming in today. Yeah. We are coming up to another break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about that horrible popping sound that you get when your neck gets adjusted. So stay tuned.
But you feel good.
Florida Man Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And I'm going to second that. Welcome back to BaaD Radio. You can call or text us at any time to 321-339-1055. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by none other than Premier Couple Superstore, because couples that play together stay together. Cut out the middleman, go straight to the source. Premier Couple Superstore has got everything you need, from sexy bedroom outfits, toys, games, and everything in between. So use your imagination. Also, a huge thank you to Artistic Beauty and Diamond Cryo, both are in the Winter Park area, and Kazoo Creative, who got the BaaDradio.com website up and running. Thank you so much. All right, so we are here with Dr. James Bowles, who has recently come on as a sponsor for the show. So first and foremost, thank you so much for doing that. I know that it's a little step of faith there.
Yeah, well, we know each other personally, and I definitely appreciate everything you do for our businessing group and what you do on the radio. So I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I'm always really personally touched when somebody sponsors the show, because this is like my baby. But it's really, as the show grows, the video portion is going to play a huge piece in that. So it's, like I said, super important. So starting off, tell me a little bit about your background. You are from
England.
Some
people say Australia, but it's not. It's England. So my dad's actually from Australia. So I have a citizenship for England, Australia, and the United States. So kind of from 3 different places, I'd say.
That's all right. I think it's cool.
So I moved over here fairly young, so sometimes my accent goes in and out a little bit. But yeah, so I've lived here now for probably the majority of my life, so I'm definitely consider myself an American for sure.
A quick question before I forget too: are all chiropractors doctors?
They are, yes.
Okay.
So unlike physical therapy world, where physical therapists, they can be just a master's degree or they can be a doctorate degree for PTs. All chiropractors are physicians. Yes.
Yeah, because I really like telling people, like when I'm like saying Dr. James Bowles. It sounds so good.
I appreciate that because I don't really like my last name too much. A lot of people mispronounce it. They say Bowles or something like that too. So in England, it's a common name, but over here, not so much. So I always go by Dr. James with my patients. So they all know me by Dr. James, but if you pronounce it right, I don't mind how you say it
at the end.
Yeah,
it
would make it easier, right? And then
people would know.
Exactly.
And how did you get into the field that you're currently in?
So when I was younger, I played professional soccer for a little bit. I did that for a few years and then hurt my knee. So after I was done with that, I thought, what am I going to do with myself? So I had decent enough grades in high school that I could actually get into college, which was lucky enough because some athletes don't.
You're a doctor. I don't even want to hear it.
I know. Well, this is back in the day.
Smart.
This is back in the day. So I went to University of Central Florida after I moved back over from England.
Too.
Very nice. Go Knights. There you go. And then once I was done with my undergrad, I did a degree in physics and a degree in sports science. So I had some, like engineering type background as well, also with some healthcare and some sports background. I thought, well, what can I do? So I actually thought about going to medical school. And then I hurt my low back actually working out one day. Don't look like I work out now for anyone who can see the video, but I used to. And I went to a regular doctor, like a medical doctor, an orthopedist. Didn't help out too much for my specific condition. Obviously, they're great for certain conditions.
Were you in an accident? No, you said at the gym.
No, it was a rowing accident at the gym, yeah. And then I went to a chiropractor it was in a multidisciplinary setting, so he was actually in a medical office as well. So he had that medical background and also the chiropractic background, and he helped me tremendously. So I went and shadowed a few chiropractic doctors, and then I went and toured. There's a school in Port Orange called Palmer College of Chiropractic, and I ended up going there after undergrad, and I've loved it ever since. So it's a great profession. So anyone who doesn't know what to do but they want to get into healthcare, chiropractic is definitely an awesome way to do it. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that back pain or just pain like that in general is crippling. I don't think that and the thing is that you don't really get it until you have back or neck pain, and then all of a sudden,
well, and there's nothing like a surgeon can do for you if they can't operate, right? And that's the orthopedic.
We get that a lot. We get a lot of people come in with MRIs. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we get MRIs come in and they're like, okay, I have a disc herniation or whatever it may be, but it's not to that point of surgery. And then their regular doctor says, okay, take a steroid, something like that, and it helps for a little bit, but you can't take steroids for forever. So that's kind of where we come in, and mixing chiropractic with physical therapy as well is definitely a game changer for a lot of people.
What's funny is I have not met anybody who has had back surgery that is fixed.
The rate of success is fairly low. There is some people that we see, to be fair, that do quite well. They're never perfect again because you are changing the structure of the low back and the function of it. But they definitely do better than what they were before, but they're always going to have some sort of issue down the line, or it's going to degenerate quicker in the low back.
It's very individual, too, depending on health and what you eat daily.
Did you have to have back surgery with your auto accidents?
The options were, and I have 6 herniated discs, 2 each car accident, 3 accidents, and they wanted to burn the nerve. Was
ablation,
one of
that sounds terrible.
And that's like every year I'd have to do it because it grows back because your body's trying to do what it needs to do. And then they gave me a lot of shots. They also put me on a very high dose Advil treatment, that probably wrecked my liver for a bit. So my chiropractor and physical therapist ended up meeting, and now they do a lot of work together.
Perfect.
And it was, the combination of both was what I needed. And I have no pain.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
I mean, and the next option was fusion, but they said I'm so young. But they acted like this is just where you're going to be. You're going to be in pain. They kept shooting my SI joints up with steroids and things, but...
Do you do that?
We don't in office, no. We refer. There's neurologists and pain managements that refer to in the area, all throughout Central Florida, and they do that. There's a time and place for that. If the pain is so high that you can't do exercise or even withstand an adjustment, there's a time and place where you definitely need some sort of steroid, but
it helps your body lower the inflammation. But that was the only options. And when I said, okay, I'm going to try this decompression therapy, which I'm sure you're really familiar with,
they probably rolled your eyes at you.
Oh,
a little
Tom
bit.
That one.
Yeah, they said, that probably won't work, but we'll talk to you. We'll talk about burning the nerve.
Yep.
If you want to try that for a few months, and after a few months, there was so much relief.
Tom had this. Oh, well, actually, Dr. James has seen Tom.
Yeah.
Tie that one together for us, Angela.
So
don't break the HIPAA rules. No, just joking.
No, you saw Anna too. Dr. James actually seen my husband and my daughter, so that's how much I trust him.
That's awesome.
So tell the little story about Tom.
Tom's same to of course. I'm sure he would consent off to it. But even when I was at the VA, same scenario. Someone who has degeneration in the neck who's told they need a surgery. We try them on decompression. We used to do it at the VA where I used to work in Iowa City. And the results are great. You know, people get more functionality, so they can go do more stuff.
He's not in any pain at all right now.
And it allows you to go do more things physical therapy wise as well once that acute pain is gone. So the decomp is just one piece of the puzzle. But what you're doing essentially is you're just decompressing either the lumbar spine or the neck. In Tom's case, it was the neck, just to open up that nerve area where it comes out of the foramen from the neck. And so you haven't got radiating pain anymore.
He was scheduled to have surgery, and I was, Anna was 2 and Aiden was in my belly. And it was such a hard time because I was so pregnant. We had a toddler and he could not lift anything. He could not move. He would curl up in a fetus position and just not move. And he was in so much pain. And he, like I said, he was scheduled for surgery, but we opted to do it after Aiden was born because there was no way I was going to do all of that at once. And the decompression machine was, he tried acupuncture. He tried everything. But back to Anna too. So Anna was in an auto accident and she didn't complain about anything, but I still brought her. I still brought her because one of the big things that people don't know is if you're in an auto accident, even when you're not feeling it, you have how many days?
You have 14 days.
Right.
So I guess they came up with that saying if you leave it more than 14 days, your pain's probably not enough to warrant coming in later. And they gave you that window as well because a lot of people after the accident will not feel pain for the first few days just because all the adrenaline pumping and stuff.
It could be weeks.
It can be a while. That's why they give you that 2-week window. So we get people come in that are 10 to almost that 14-day deadline.
I think I did bring her in on day 14.
Yeah, you did. But she was doing great. So she had no issues. So she was one of the lucky ones that actually didn't even develop pain at all, which was very good.
She got hit on the side. So, but still, I did that off of Jenny and Drew's advice and Dr. James' advice because just in case, and my insurance covered it. So, but if I waited and then something happened afterwards, out of luck.
It's always good. I just tell people it's essentially a free check. Obviously your auto insurance is glad to cover that to make sure you're okay. So you can come in, you'll get X-ray imaging, whatever you need. So it's kind of almost like a physical as well. So even if you're not feeling in pain, but you haven't been to even your primary care for a while, it's a great idea to come in just to even have just a physical, to be honest, to do it with the auto accident as well. So
do you guys take insurance for PT, for physical therapy?
We do. At the current clinic where I practice now, Lake Mary Chiropractic Center, they do physical therapy there as well, not just for auto accidents, but also for anyone with like Blue Cross, Aetna, all those sort of insurances. So we offer that for anybody post-surgical, stuff like that as well. So yeah, it's not just auto care, which a lot of chiropractors are just auto care. So that makes it a little bit different, which is nice.
What are some of the other services or things that you do and that you treat?
Yeah, mostly it is obviously chiropractic care, so spinal manipulation, which most people call an adjustment. We offer physical therapy, as Emily mentioned. We have spinal decompression. We have different types of traction therapies. We have massage therapy. We offer assisted stretch. So the list just keeps going on and on. Yeah. And we also have yoga as well on the weekends that one of our physical therapy assistants does as well. So it's a really awesome place to come down and just, even if you're not feeling too much in pain, it's just like a good place just to feel better for the weekend.
Some people just don't realize, though, when they haven't felt good for so long, when you can go, get a tune-up.
Yeah, they get in that funk of just feeling like groggy is their normal, and it's not good. Some people come to me and say, I've had low back pain. I said, how long did you write on this intake paperwork? 10 years. Have you seen anybody? No, you're my first person. I said, okay, that makes a lot of sense, but let's fix it up, so.
Well, really, what is that horrible popping sound?
Everybody asks me that. So if I got $1 for every time someone asked me that, I'd be somewhere in the Bahamas.
I'd give you $1 if you answer the question.
So what it is essentially, little science lesson on it. If you remember back from your probably 8th grade science class, and there's a relationship between pressure and gas and liquids and things like that in chemistry. So when you create a negative pressure in a joint by distending it and moving it, you turn what the fluid in the joint becomes a gas. So essentially you're turning your synovial fluid, which is a lubricating fluid in the joint, into carbon dioxide. It's turning into a gas. So it's not bone on bone grinding. You're not actually cracking anything. You're actually distending the joint and pulling it apart. If anything, you're not grinding it together. And you get this release of gas and pressure.
I know some people absolutely love it. It's scary.
It's a love-hate thing.
So my kid likes to pop her own neck.
Okay,
Can
so
you let her know
everyone asks me this too. If it doesn't cause pain, like no immediate pain, and you don't feel like you have to do it more and more frequently, I would say it's okay.
Even for a 17-year-old?
It depends.
She might not feel pain
yeah,
now.
but a lot of kids these days are sitting at the desk a lot. They're sitting at school. They're very stationary and stuff like that. So it builds up pressure in the joint. Movement is what pumps fluid out of your joint. So if you don't move a lot, you build up a lot of synovial fluid in the joint. Okay. And that's where you're going to get that louder pop when you move. So, yeah. Okay. So, okay if you haven't got pain and you don't feel like you have to do it every 2 minutes, and then you're good.
So we are actually, we have got 2 minutes left in the show. So thank you, Dr. James.
Of course.
Let me ask you one more question, though. Do you think that the orthopedics and things do you think there's more of a shift coming in the acceptance of chiropractic?
I'll tell you yes, and I'll tell you the reason why. If you look at Harvard, Yale, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, all the VA hospitals, they all have chiropractors on staff now. Okay. And they all pay for their research as well. So there's no way that they would pay all that money and do all those things if it wasn't worthwhile.
All right. So we're going to have to wrap it up now. So tell Dr. James how people get in touch with you.
Of course, yeah. So you can go on LakeMaryChiropractic.com, or you can call us at 407-302-5161, and you can ask for Dr. James, and I'll be glad to take care of any patient needs that you need.
Mike?
Yes, Froggers.com or hr@Froggers.com. You can send resumes, come on over, and our restaurants are open 11 to midnight.
Emily?
Emily Murphy, GoGet'emCoach.com. You can find me at GoGet'emCoach on Instagram or ResetWithEmily.com on Facebook.
And Miss Melissa?
I am at StrikingBrand.com and StrikingBrand all social media.
Thank you so much. And you can get all the information about BaaD Radio at BaaD, BaaD radio.com. For advertising information, please reach out to me at 321-303-6424. And everybody have an amazing week. And tune in next week at noon.